Moon and Todd haven't played in the finals against each other all this year. They did play in the semifinals of the Blizzard Worldwide Invitational, where Todd dominated Moon as he went on to win the tournament. In the Pro Gamer League, the two played in the semifinals, where Moon won 3-0, but the conditions of that match were the subject of one of Todd's many rants. No matter whose fault that was, Todd was definitely off of his game. Most recently, they played a single map in the group phase of the World Cyber Games, where Todd played beautifully on Terranisstand en route to a victory. The series starts on Terranisstand, where Todd played just like Sky, going for his expansion right off the bat. Moon creeps his Goblin Laboratory, then the expansion to get a quick level 3 on his Warden. He also puts up his own expansion. He goes to harass Todd, but the Arcane Tower is already up. Shadow Strike kills a Peasant in one hit, but there's only so much the Moon can do against an Arcane Tower. Todd gets the expansion up and goes after Moon's expansion, but after seeing the archers and the Warden, he backs off quickly. Todd comes back with a Zeppelin and tries to take it down again, dropping his army in, but the Warden quickly uses a Staff of Town Portal to stop it. Todd starts another expansion, while Moon goes for a fairly large Tier 2 army before getting to Tier 3. They fight, and the Spellbreakers for Todd don't have the power to take out the Dryads, and Moon's micro is too good to allow him to take out any heroes. Moon goes after the undefended expansion, while Todd seems content to take out an Ancient of War. It's a lapse in judgment for Todd. By the time he turns to save his expansion, it's already doomed, and Moon takes it out easily and town portals back to his base. Moon had set up his own expansion, and now it's Moon with the economy advantage. They fight again with an 80 food army for Todd, but it's a Tier 3 army for Moon. One thing Moon really focuses on is stacking his heroes with items to make sure they don't die. He even burns a town portal at the end of the battle to make sure that his Warden will not die because of a stray Stormbolt. Todd had put his second expansion back up, so they fight over it again. Todd doesn't like the Fairy Dragon, so he pulls out a town portal to that very expansion to get away from the Fairy Dragon. He does get away from them, but his mortar teams dominate the Dryads, but he has no answer for the Bears. Finally, the Warden and Panda focus on the mortar teams and dominate them in one flurry of area of effect damage, and Todd gives up on the first game. We go to Echo Isles next, where Todd starts off at his expansion, but rather than put the expansion up, he goes for an Arcane Tower early. It's useful against a Warden, but not so much against a Demon Hunter. Moon picks up some mercenaries and goes straight to the new expansion and just attacks the Town Hall, forcing Todd to cancel it. At Tier 2, Moon comes back and does it again. It's closer this time, but he still manages to cancel the expansion, only losing one archer. Moon goes for an expansion of his own at Tier 2. It's later than Todd's, but with a massive delay, it's not that much later. Moon then goes for a hard push right as he hits Tier 3. Todd has the army to counter it, but it's still way too close to call. Moon has to back off and give Todd time to mass an army. He gets his 80 food army. Moon doesn't focus on the mortar teams until his Dryads are all gone. Todd finishes off Moon with a 65 food army still left to tie the series up at 1 game apiece. Next is Turtle Rock and its close positions. Rather than push from the start, Todd goes to creep before he pushes. The push still comes, but it's slightly later. The battle is close, and Todd forces a town portal out of Moon's Demon Hunter, but the town portal gives Moon's Demon Hunter the placement he needs to take out the Archmage. He quickly cancels the remaining towers, and the push has been stopped, at least for now. Todd comes back to creep out Moon's green creeps, but a level 3 Demon Hunter scares him away. Moon then goes on the offensive, and with no tower or blacksmith for Todd, he can't counter the Huntresses at all. A Naga comes out, but Moon still has a huge advantage. Todd hits Tier 2 and he goes for casters. No riflemen to counter the Huntresses. They fight again, and this time Moon has to back off, but he already has done a significant amount of damage to Todd. Todd goes for a tower push, but he doesn't have the wood to upgrade more than one tower. He also doesn't have any piercing damage in the form of riflemen. Moon hasn't even started a tech to Tier 3. Everything in his army but archers takes extra damage from riflemen, but Todd only gets 2 of them. That, coupled with only 1 tower, effectively ends Todd's push. But it's still Tier 2 armies for both players, so it's close, but Moon has the slight advantage. Eventually, the high-level heroes for Moon catch up to Todd, and Moon wins another game on close positions, Turtle Rock. He lost to Infi close positions on Turtle Rock in the group phase, but neither Todd or Sky could win in that same situation. Game 4 is Twisted Meadows, and it's cross-map. Todd gets another Tome of Experience in the Goblin Lab, and we will have an early level 3 from him. Moon goes for the Warden and creeps a mercenary camp early to get close to level 3 and some mercs to help him against the expansion to come. That expansion starts with a tower, and the Warden backs off to fight another day. When the Warden comes back, it's level 3. She only gets in 1 Phantom Knives, but it's good for 5 peasant kills. Later, Moon comes back and he gets 4 more peasant kills despite one of the worst Phantom Knives that I've seen. Todd starts to tech to tier 2, but it's late. Todd tries to harass with a Zeppelin, but a mud golem slows the Zeppelin to put an end to that. The push comes and Todd tries to fight it off and manages to push back, but all Moon needs to do is wait for his cooldowns before he releases another onslaught of area of effect damage. Todd doesn't have anything to rebuild his army, and it doesn't look good for him. His Panda tries to come out and use a Breath of Fire just once, but he doesn't even make it that far. Todd ends the punishment by giving the victory to Moon in 4 games. On to the top plays. Number 5, Todd against Fob. Todd, with a much weaker army, ignores the destroyers and just goes for the Lich. A perfectly timed Staff of Silence stops the coil to heal the Lich, and he gets the kill. And later in the game, he wins the match. At number 4, Fob against Hooligan. Just so you all know, it is pronounced Hooligan. He's from Russia, thus the name is pronounced differently. I screwed up for a long time calling him Zyligan, but I have it right now. Anyway, the Death Knight is hiding around looking for the creep kill, but Hooligan gets the creep down to 109 health, and the coil just misses killing it. Unfortunately, Hooligan can't take it one step further and surround the Death Knight. At number 4, it's Moon's great plays from the tournament. First, it's the old school neutral hero surround with hidden archers. Next up, Infi against Moon in close positions on Turtle Rock, and a town portal gets Moon the Archmage kill. And then finally, against Todd in another tower push, Moon town portals right next to the Archmage and gets another Archmage kill. At number 3, in the 3rd place match, Hot did not do too well, but the Warden times an anti-magic potion at the last microsecond to stop the Stormbolt. Number 2, Fob has a very low statue. It goes into Destroyer form and gets coiled just before the Archmage can manage to kill it. Finally, top play number 1. Moon already got his own top play at number 4, but he gets another. Moon against Infi fighting in a pure hero battle. The fight is even, but Infi can't win, so he town portals back to his base. Moon pulls out 2 Staff of Teleportations and follows Infi for 2 hero kills. Now the tournament is over, but there's one more piece of information left. Let's look at the final 4 players as if they played in a round-robin group phase. All the matches from that group phase can be filled in with the actual matches from the tournament. The final standings would be Sky and Moon tied at 2-1, and Todd and Hot tied at 1 win and 2 losses. Moon would beat Sky, so he would win that tiebreaker, and Todd beat Hot, so he would win that tiebreaker. Final standings, Moon first, Sky second, Todd third, and finally Hot fourth. But Todd did get lucky with the bracket, so he ended up second, while Sky got the 3rd place spot instead. Well, that's it for episode 25. I'd thought about doing special, but I'm trying to get 3 episodes out this week, so the plan will have to wait until I hit another significant number. Look for episode 26, which will have some Warcraft 3 Champions League action coming out very soon.